right, everybody. So here we are. We're at Shortways Barn, right on Golfville Road in Hawthorne. If you guys don't know where it is, then I don't know what to tell you. We've done a bunch of these here, and it's a great forum. And now that the elections are coming up, we wanted to have these three guys on. We've got Troy Oswald, Alex Cruz, and Mason. Is it pronounced Maher or Maher?
Maher, yes.
Maher. And Mason Maher. Troy and Alex are going to be running for county commissioners in Passaic County, and Mason's going to run for sheriff in Passaic County. And thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
I know that there was some conflicts earlier this year, but I'm glad that everything's lined up.
Yes,
you guys are ready. You guys hit the road. And if you guys haven't seen the bus, they've got a bus that's traveling all over Passaic County. So if you see it, make sure you wave. Stop them, shake their hand,
right.
And if you have any questions, they're open to answer any questions, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right,
phone numbers are on the side of the bus, so call us.
Huh?
Phone numbers are on the side of the bus, so you can
What
call
is the
us.
phone number? So what? Can you shout out the phone number?
Yeah, you know what? We'll put a card up and
Absolutely, I'll put it.
So we have
The
all
phone
three at
number
the
that's
same
right
time.
on the bottom of this right
Yes.
now, as we're speaking. That's the number, and you guys, and anybody can call you if they have any questions.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Text is actually always better because we're so busy, we're running everywhere. But we'll
So
take a
that-
phone
that's
call.
a cell phone number.
It's a cell phone number. So my cell phone number, Alex's cell phone number, Mason's cell phone
we
number. It's
wanna
our
be
cell phone
accessible.
numbers.
That's what
We're
Right,
completely
well, you know what?
accessible.
We're going to
yeah.
put it under each one of your.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why text is better because we're working, we're out here, we're doing stuff. But
Yeah.
so
Right.
text us if you have to call. But yeah, it's this number.
There it is.
That's what it,
There it is. And any questions you guys have, you can ask them. If they don't answer them today, feel free to text the questions to these guys.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I just wanted to find out. So commissioner,
Yes.
sheriff.
Yes.
What is a county commissioner? And this is my own ignorance. I'm sure you guys know what it is. I don't know what a commissioner is.
if you don't mind, Alex.
Go ahead.
Okay, I get this question a decent amount of time. It's not in her. First thing, county commissioner was county freeholder, but that still doesn't
Which
shed
again,
light on
no idea what a freeholder does.
So, the easiest way I like to explain it to people is because people understand it on their municipal level. Every municipality has a mayor and has a town council.
Yeah.
So really what it is the town council. Commissioners are the equivalent of the town council on a county level. They make
okay.
the decisions on budgets.
So you're like county council.
Yeah, it's like county
Exactly,
council.
that's exactly what
where
it
the
is.
money goes.
Just
Yep.
call the county councilman.
That's not a
Exactly.
bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, they got to get all fancy with the name.
Exactly, but that's really what it is. It decides budgets, where the money's going,
Yep.
what projects they're going to
Allocating
fund,
all
what
the
projects they're not going to fund,
Right.
allocating the money to different projects, and that's what they do.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what the sheriff does, and we're going to get to you, Mason. So tell me a little bit about your background, where you grew up. And I know you've been a cop for
32 years.
32
32
years.
years, yes.
Alex, you've been on the
I
force
just started my 29th.
29th year, and Mason,
32 as well.
32 years. These between the three guys, they have 93 years on the force.
We don't look that old.
I don't know, Troy does. You guys, so tell a little bit about your background. What got you into law enforcement?
It's funny. That's kind of goes way back, obviously. So my father was the chief of police of Little Falls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the chief of police back in the day. And my father, one thing he never wanted to see me do is go and do law enforcement.
Right.
So he never wanted that from me. He really didn't. He always felt I had larger aspirations. But my choice was that's always what I wanted to do. So I actually
Was it because your dad was doing it? Did you have that admiration, or did you have that?
It's that service. And, you know, when I saw my father, the way that the community interacted with him, the way that he would always be there at a phone call, and we're talking before cell phones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That he'd get a call in the middle of the night, he would go out, and my father was the essence of back in the 70s of a community policing officer, because he'd get a call at his house on a hard line, and he would go out to help the community and coaching and doing the stuff. As a child, that sits well with you, you know. So I saw that service, and that's really what I yearned for, and that's all three of us actually do, and they'll talk about it. Was service to the community. So I was at the time I was going for my undergraduate at Rutgers. And I took a test, and I got hired. And my father, actually being the police chief in Little Falls, was like, well, okay. He didn't really want to see me. He wants to become a businessman, make crazy amount of money. But this was the path that I saw.
And he understood that.
He understood that.
Yeah, because it happened to him.
And the day that I graduated the State Police Academy way back in 1988 was probably one of the proudest days of his life. When I graduated.
Was he there?
He was there. Yes,
That's
he was.
great.
Yeah. God bless his soul. Yeah.
I see the pictures. Chief Nepper. I went to high school with him, and when his son joined the force, even when when you see the father and son there, shaking hands, giving hugs, that's beautiful.
Well, it's actually a family business because my brother just retired from Fairfield Police Department as a sergeant. I was the chief of police in Patterson, and then my father was the chief of police in Little Falls.
How long were you chief of police in Patterson?
About 3 years as chief of police in Patterson, just short of 3 years.
And there's a whole, you've got to start at the bottom, and then you've got to hit all the levels, right? What are those levels? Like when you start patrolman, detective, sergeant, detective sergeant, lieutenant, lieutenant, captain, captain, deputy chief, and then chief. So yeah, I've done a lot of testing. Yeah.
I know I don't look that smart, but go figure. I know, right?
All right, so Alex, you've been in the force 29 years, right?
I've been 29 years. I started in 1994.
What was your inspiration? Did you have family members that were in the force?
I had one cousin, but I've never had any aspirations to become a police officer at all. At all.
Really?
At all. And before I became a police officer, I came out of the Marine Corps. From the Marine Corps, I went to school, and I did nuclear remediation, match marketing, hazard waste, and all that. Remediation.
Wow.
Nuclear. Yeah, we.
That's why he doesn't have hair.
Exactly.
Obviously, it leaked. I've been spending a lot of time with it.
I want to keep it. I want to keep it.
Yes, Geiger counters.
Oh, don't even talk about those Geiger counters. Yeah, so I did that. I loved the profession. I traveled all over the country. Doing that.
Even outside, you were in Canada too. I think, right?
I was in Canada. I had a project with American Cyanamid in Ontario, Canada. It was supposed to be 6 weeks. I actually ended up there 16 months. I thought I was going to be a Canadian citizen, and I loved the job. And then they gave me an ultimatum. They wanted me to go to Denver, Colorado, to work at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. As a project manager, dismantling the plant, which was Rocky Mountain Arsenal, that actually manufactured Agent Orange for Vietnam War. And I was working with the Army Corps of Engineers, and then at that time, my wife did not want to go down there.
Wow. Did they ask you to do it because no one else wanted to do it?
No, I was actually I was pretty good at what I was doing. I was the company's youngest project manager ever. And I oversaw taking down Maxwell House Coffee in Hoboken, Jersey City, Colgate Palmolive. You got the big clock, Uncle Ben. I actually have my picture, me holding down the line, laying down Big Ben, right?
Really?
And it's still there. I went to Puerto Rico, Fiji, California, you name it. I went all over the country, and I loved it. But Denver, Colorado was definitely not for me.
So how do you go from there?
And one day, my two cousins, they always worked in security, armored car services, and they were taking the exam, and they said, Alex, why don't you just take the exam? I took it just for fun. Next thing you know, I scored maybe 2 points behind them, and next thing you know, in 1994, here I am.
Where did you start?
I cut my wages 75%, and I became a Patterson police officer.
Yeah,
no one really goes into being a police officer for the money.
It's
not like, how can I make a lot of money fast?
Yeah. So then I actually came on with my two cousins, and one just retired to Florida as a lieutenant, and the other one just also retired, and I'm the only one that's still here.
Wow. So where did you start as a cop? Were you always in the same district?
I started. I was 18 years on the road. I never had an inside job, and then in 2011, I had the ability to run for PBA president, and I was elected by the members of the Patterson Police Department in 2011. And it's a term that I still hold today. I'm already working on my 6th term, and each term I'm proud to announce that I was uncontested.
So talk a little bit about the PBA, because I think that's another one of those things. You know, we all get the mailings, and then you look at it, it's like, nah, I'm looking for more money.
Right.
Explain a little bit about what the PBA does.
Well, one of the things that, and Mason's been the Superior Officers Union President for almost the same amount of time as I have,
Right.
12. We've been two peas to the pod, and we've been doing, protecting the contractual rights of the men and women of the Patterson Police Department. Making sure that you have a safe work environment for our members. We also represent them with attorneys in whether it's contractual, administrative, or sometimes even possible criminal allegations as far as an administrative case pertaining to a police
No, I get a
officer.
picture of this.
So this is something that we've legislated. We've legislated in Trenton to advocate for our rights and also the law with the state PBA. We've also have done. We've been in federal litigation with the municipalities when they violated Federal Labor Standards Act, and we've also the most important thing is negotiate for the contractual rights of our members. And so it's a gamut. Your mom, pops, and uncles to all the members of the Patterson Police, or not only the Patterson Police Department, if you're a union president, to your members that you represent.
Right. And that's all the PBAs.
And that's all the PBAs. And what we're looking to do it now, as chief and I was union president, we would advocate. We had an issue. We would sit at that table, we would disagree, and then at the end, we would agree, mutual terms, and everybody's happy.
Shake hands.
So now what we're going to do is we want to take it to the county level and make sure that there's checks and balances, there's bipartisanship there, and make sure that our tax dollars that we all pay for are actually getting the services that we desperately need.
Well, see, that's the cool thing, is that you guys have worked together for so long.
Yes.
And you've done all these things together for so long.
We fighted each other for so long that we know how to get it along with each other. So.
But we've also been friends for 30 years. So
Yes.
we've really been
Yes.
best of friends for 30 years, the
Yeah.
three of us. Yeah, it's and I think you can tell that by talking to us, looking at. We've been friends for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So,
Trained in the police academy for 14 years.
yeah, he and I were PT instructors, physical
Oh, is that
fitness
right?
instructors
For 14 years.
Yeah, I was a drill instructor.
And he was a
Yeah.
drill instructor.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
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 we've been
yes,
friends
sir.
forever.
So I think we got all the bases covered.
Yeah.
All right, so Mason, let me ask you. So how did you get started in the police department? What was
Okay.
your inspiration?
Mine's not as fancy or glamorous as my two counterparts here. So I'm born and raised in Patterson. Lived there.
What part of Patterson?
Also Hillcrest section. So family was there. So my mother's father was a doctor. He had his office on Wayne Avenue. And a lot of police officers used to come in there, and he serviced the police department. But back in those days, he was the doctors of old, I should say, where you get the call, you pick up the bag, right, the black medical bag.
Really?
And you go to the house kind of thing.
Is that right? You make house calls. That's cool.
Yeah, so
I
I think
admire
it was
that.
pre-Dr. Knockhamson.
Yeah.
That was a while back. But yeah, so he had a lot of police officers that were patients, and I saw that service. My mother, being a nurse, saw her service. And she worked at Little Sisters of the Poor, and I remember at a young age going in there and spending time with the elderly. Just that call to service. So
So you felt that. You felt that.
I felt the call to service, but I didn't know exactly what. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Right, so joined the Marine Corps and then get it.
Oh, you were in the Marines too?
Yes.
How long did you serve for? Al?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah,
How
4
long did
years.
you serve?
4 years.
You guys didn't know each other in the Marine Corps.
No. I was in the good-looking squad.
Third battalion.
Oh, there.
So it was that duty to service, right? And growing up in Patterson, I had quite an array of friends. I didn't know anything, and I was fortunate to grow up in a household where diversity was welcomed. And there was no my friends were my friends, right? They didn't look at
Didn't matter what
names
color or name.
or religions. None of that stuff really mattered at all. It was just like everyone was friends, staying by a house, eating at this house, and having that, ability to not at the time knowing that I was able to try some of the best food I've ever eaten, not realizing that, to me, this is all just American food because everybody's here in America and we're all eating the food. This is great. Apparently, your mom cooks better than mine or something, because I love rice and beans and, other things. So, but as you get older, going down that path and growing up in Patterson, and I'm sure others can attest to the same thing, there comes a point in time where, the childhood mischief turns into more serious stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to try and draw that line. You have to say, okay, listen, well, my mom raised me right, and which path should I take? And unfortunately, I've had friends that, went the other way, and I chose not to, and I saw that, nothing good is going to come of that, and they're getting arrested and they're going to jail and they're doing things they shouldn't be doing, and I just felt that service still inside me and needed to figure out a way to actually accent that service, and law enforcement is the perfect way, right? If you, like you said earlier, you're not going to get rich being a police officer.
Right.
And I can guarantee you're not going to get rich being a police officer in Patterson.
Yeah, right.
I'm thankful because I had a roof over my head and feed my family and raise a beautiful family. But money wasn't the desire. The desire was to have that
service of punctuality.
Yeah, and the fulfillment of knowing that, at the end of a day of work, it wasn't crunching numbers in an office someplace that may help the CEO of that company. Our work actually legitimately helps people's lives on a daily basis.
Day to day,
Day to day. And that's more rewarding. The thank yous aren't there. We get them here and there, but the thank yous really aren't there. I think it's more.
We take it for granted.
You take it for granted.
Around.
But selfishly, the reward is the personal reward, because we know we've done something.
Right.
So that is where the that is where the service and appreciation came in. From our own, because if you're truly doing
and
this
your buddies.
to serve,
I mean,
right. That's what my point is exactly that.
Yeah.
Truly doing this to serve, and for the length of time we have served and what we've done while we served, that there's no gain there. The only thing I can tell you is whether we got a great contract at one time, or got a winning raffle ticket somewhere somehow at a PBA meeting. None of that means anything, but I guarantee you nobody's going to remember that part. No officer's going to remember that. But you could ask any officer, and the three of us standing here, of different events where you impacted somebody's life, and every one of us could tell you probably multiple stories about things that we'll never forget that we've done to help and impact someone's life. That is intangible.
And I feel like you guys are taking that to your, to what you're running for, to being a commissioner, to be a sheriff.
100%.
Yeah.
None of us need this.
Absolutely.
None of us want this.
It's not like you're getting a big increase in pay.
Yeah.
Not at all. I think we're all stable. We don't need any of it. But when we see a need and we see a service and we see something that's bigger than ourselves, understanding that someone has to do it, and it's hard to put yourself out there, right, with the spotlight that's put on you when you run for office and things that could happen. But if we don't, if someone doesn't, then what happens? We stay where we are, but we're not going to progress. So I'll take the beating on the personal side and all the other stuff to know that this team right here, this team of servants, are the best for the county. We're going to be the best that the county is going to have because of what I said. It's not something we're looking to do. We're not trying to gain an office or better ourselves or anything. What we want to do is be accountable to the people of Passaic County and serve them. That's what we want to do. We want to serve them.
And if I could add to that, when I was asked to run, and I'm sure these guys got the same thing, you want change. Everybody wants change. So what I would say was, well, if you want change, you got to be a part of the change.
Right.
That's what it is.
You got to help change it.
I never ran for political office before. I'm not like, what? Well, like, what are you talking
None
about?
of us, right?
Yeah. You want to be
We're
part
cops.
of. You want to be. We're cops. We're cops. So, if you want change, everybody wants change. A lot of people want change. Well, when someone asks you to be a part of that change, Either step up or move away. Is really what it came to, and that's with the three of us.
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
So
you.
where do you guys see, and I'll ask from the commissioner's office perspective and then from the sheriff's office, where do you guys see the biggest need? Like what's pulling at you like this has to change?
Public safety.
Absolutely, public safety.
Public safety and transparency, if you want to put two of them, but public safety. They're closing the jail, right? We have quotes
Passaic
from
County Jail.
Passaic County Jail. We
Yeah.
have
Why are
quotes
they
from the
closing?
They made a contract with Bergen County, $19.5 million a year.
For 10 years.
For 10 years.
$195 million.
$195 million contract to house whether it's one prisoner or up to 500
Per
year.
Per year.
Per year.
per
And
year. 500 is the max.
That's-
500
But
is
it
the
could be
max.
one.
It could or one. And now with the bail reform that they just adjusted, that number is going to be even a lot higher. So now, what are they going to do? They're going to continue. They're committed to that 19.5 million a year. So now,
When did they sign that contract? How much?
Last year.
go ahead.
So there's still another 9 years to this.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, and we've
I've
been
been for $195 million.
$195
Our-
million.
Passaic County
us
taxpayers.
taxpayers.
Yes, sir.
You're-
Us
And it's
taxpayers.
going to Bergen County.
To Bergen
Bergen
County.
And I
County.
can elaborate on that later too, but yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
Why don't we just take that money?
And build a new jail?
Yeah.
Great
Or
question.
retrofit the new one.
Or retrofit the
Or
new one, great question.
retrofit the one existing.
When new jails are built, Bergen County being the perfect example of it, they actually become a negative. They become an asset against tax dollars. Meaning they usually make money. Bergen County's now making money on their jail because they're making
think so.
Passaic County money
Thanks
and
to
Hudson
Passaic
County
County.
money.
Yeah.
So
You're welcome.
Passaic County has what has been reported of $180 million in the coffers of taxes that are raised through property sold and other items.
Right.
They have the money. So really what it is why did you not think about building a new jail and turn it into a money maker? Because prior to this administration, prior to this administration in the past 12 years, the jail has actually had zero tax effect on taxpayers. Meaning that what it took to run the jail, they would make the money from the federal government and other counties bringing prisoners in. As of this administration, when it took over 12 years ago, the jail became a tax burden on taxpayers. They had to pay. They never visited the jail, never did repairs on the jail, so 12 years later, the jail is crumbling.
Is that what's happening?
It is crumbling. So Alex and I have asked under Oprah and other things, let me see the reports of why we're giving almost $200 million
Assessments, reports, everything.
to Bergen County. Well, what's the needs analysis? Can we fix it? Do we need to find a new jail? Can we retrofit just part of it? We've gotten no response. This is all backroom door deals. Violation of the Sunshine Law because we've got nothing from the administration.
There's no oversight. There's no way for the taxpayers to look at anything.
Well, think of it. It's the same people, same party, right?
For 20
So
years, they've been doing. Yeah.
If you have the exact same structure to who's doing this, and who's
decisions.
making these deals, right? There's no checks and balances, right? We should have balance on the commissioner's board.
If I can interrupt for one
Absolutely.
sec, here's a perfect example.
I knew he was going to do that.
I'm sorry. During COVID, where more than 100,000 New Jersey residents got laid off, where the governor said to local, county, municipal governments, no raises, no promotions, you can't do anything. Passaic County commissioners gave themselves and from the undersheriff all the way to the sheriff raises between 35 and 55%, all under the cloak of darkness. All because during COVID, everything was closed down. So when you meet in a room and everyone is, shall we say, just like-minded, that everybody in the room is Democrat, it was very easy to pass it. And again, for the fact finders, the truth finders, do the research. If you look between their raises, the raised salaries that they received prior to COVID and after
public
COVID.
information?
Public information.
Absolutely. Business administrator was
Where can people
included in
find it?
there.
I mean, I wouldn't even know where.
Actually, you
to
can go to county budget and just look year by year, see what the raises they got that year.
Really?
That's
So just
simple.
look at like Google,
Right.
say
Yeah.
county budget.
The Passaic County
to,
budget.
Just to expand on what Troy said, and then he'll continue, but just to expand on that, which I think is very important. we also can't forget. I mean, it's still fresh in our minds what happened during COVID. But there were a lot of people that lost their homes. There were a lot of people that couldn't put food on the table. A lot of people were worrying where the next paycheck's coming, and just even how to survive during that time. And then we have a administration that decides that while the rest of the county suffers, we deserve a raise.
That's exactly.
Yeah, and that was during the
sheriff's
darkness.
The sheriff, and I don't have it to the penny, went from 156 to 209 during COVID. During COVID, not bad. Not bad work if you can get it, I guess, right? Is what y'all saying.
Yeah.
But that's everybody. The undersheriff, the sheriff, the county administrator, all the county commissioners all got.
And that's all public information.
It's all public information.
Yeah, it's all
All you
public
actually got to do,
information.
go on Passaic County budgets, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Look at the salaries that they receive. Look at it for yourself. It's that
And
simple.
who determines, like, who approves, like, who says, hey, we're gonna give you guys?
That's a great question.
Exactly.
That's a great question.
Is that,
Yeah,
would that be the commissioners?
That would be the
I don't know
commissioner.
the
Yes.
hierarchy.
So the way that it works is
Themselves.
it has to go through a resolution. The resolution has to be voted on, and then once it's voted on, it's accepted. So under Oprah, Open Public Records Act, resolutions.
Not Oprah Winfrey.
Not Oprah Winfrey. No, Open Public Records Act. The law is within 5 days they have to give us a copy of the resolution. We've been waiting for 2 months for the copy of the resolution of the raises. You got them. We'd like to see the law.
Yeah.
We'd like to see the resolution. Yet to today, what's today? October 6th? Still not received a copy of that resolution who gave all the raises.
So they're just
Doing what they want.
Yes. But that's where the checks and balances.
That's where the checks and
Exactly.
balances
We're
come in.
not
Yes.
saying it should be all Republican, it should be all Democrat. I believe that fair and balanced. I believe
hold each
having
other
the balance
accountable.
on the board,
Transparency,
and then we
yeah.
can check each other on our garbage.
Right.
And then ultimately, when we do that, we come to one thing and one thing only: what's best for the
For taxpayers.
citizen.
yeah.
What's best
Good
for the
government,
citizen,
good for the
county.
taxpayers.
That's it. When it's lopsided, it's not good anywhere. It's not good in any form of government.
Yeah.
There should be a balance, and people to check each other
Right.
on what's best for the people that put you there. The very people that you should be
People that voted you in.
beholden to. The people that's whose office that is. Mm-hmm. The people that put you there. That's who you have to answer to, and we don't have that right now.
So, what's your drive? What's the biggest change that you want to, other than the raises?
Biggest, there's a couple. So maybe
Yeah. Tell me.
But first, I have to give a shout out. I don't know if she's listening, but I have to give a shout out to my wife. It's our 26th anniversary today.
Happy anniversary!
Yes,
All
thank you.
right. What's her name?
26 years, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Happy anniversary.
I'll see you sometime tonight.
Good to see you with us.
So we initially spoke, and both Alex and Troy mentioned it, right? Number one issue, safety. Safety, I think, is the umbrella for anything that transpires, right? I mean, if you don't have safety, what do you really have?
Where do you see the biggest thing? Gun laws.
Right, so exactly.
Driving.
So violent crime, right? Shootings, whether it be gang related or active shooter, right? Two separate categories, but still dangerous. Depending if you're urban city, it's more gang related violence and shootings.
You saw a lot of that in Patterson.
Last I checked, there were 160 firearms taken off the street so far, and we're not at the end of the year yet, right? So, and then you get to the suburban areas, and you're looking more toward like the active shooter type of situation. So so safety's paramount, and I always like to say that they talk about the chicken or the egg, right? As far as, okay, so we want to bring business to Passaic County. And again, I'll let the commissioners speak on this more, but I want to bring business to the county, rateables in, that'll lower taxes, right? Get people to come here and spend money and all those good things. Well, they're not going to do that if they're not safe.
Right.
Right?
Why would they?
And then they'll say, well, we don't have the resources to hire law enforcement to put them out there to make it safer because we don't have the businesses and the rateables coming in to pay for the police officers. So it's just like a constant back and forth. So what I would say is let's work on safety first. So if we have to figure out a way to put more law enforcement officers on the street, then that's what we do, and then the other part will come, right?
If you can make it, because it's not only the businesses, but I remember I used to work down in Newark, right on the Portuguese side, on South, I think it was South Street.
Right.
And the first day I was there, I came out, my hubcaps were gone.
Right.
Day one, my
Right.
hubcap, and I was in a gated lot.
Welcome to Newark, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's kind of the way we want to go. Now we have plans and we have different ideas of what we know works, right? With true leadership here, with the years of experience.
Well, yeah,
Troy
we have
being the
93
chief,
years on the street.
and us working collaboratively, and not ever looking to supplant any municipality. That is from the sheriff's side. We're never looking to do that. What we are looking to do is have the conversations with not just the individual residents of Passaic County to find out what the issues are, but as important, if not more important, to speak to the law enforcement leaders, departments, and find out how we can assist and help them. Not take anything over. How we can come in with the resources from a county level to find out what your individual issue is in your municipality and inside the municipality, within each individual neighborhood within that municipality. Right. West Milford's issues are not Wanaku's issues or Wayne's issues. Wayne's issues aren't Patterson or Passaic's issues, and Ringwood's not Clifton's issues. They're all different
so as
issues.
a sheriff, you work with all the
All
municipalities.
the municipalities.
And the commissioners too,
Yeah.
right?
Across the board.
Yeah, representing everyone.
To do one thing, to take those resources and deploy them the most economical and transparent way we can, with the money that the commissioners will be able to allot to what the commissioner board feels is the best for the resident of Passaic County. And these gentlemen right here, Troy ran budgets, tens of millions of dollars in budgets. Troy has run. Alex has, as you heard, run major companies in what he's done prior to this, and now one of the largest PBAs in the state he's in charge of. They know numbers, they know money, they know business, and they know how to deploy that the best way, the most efficient way. When you talk about Alex and being able to do what he's done for the community and not cost the membership money by how he was able to facilitate deals and do things to help the community without the membership being impacted, and then you look at Troy, who's as the chief of police with a limited budget that he had, be able to drop and reduce crime to a 30-year low under his leadership.
Is that right?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that
low,
with if you were given more
30-year
money,
low.
you couldn't do that. If somebody gave you twice the budget, right? But you don't know what you're doing. You're going to be exactly where you were, but wasted twice the budget.
Exactly.
So the point
Spent
is,
that much more
it's
money.
about true leadership, and that's what we bring to the table collectively. So yes, he did do that, and he did it with the limited funds that he had for the police budget. So
How did you do that? What would you attribute that to?
Power people.
I know, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot. But
No, I could break it. I could break it down to a few words. So, when I was chief of police, I reduced crime to a 32-year low. I've been retired for 2.5 years. We are now at a 35-year high. That's a 67-year swing in 2.5 years. So when people question, well, leaders are leaders, whoever. No, proper leadership will get you results.
yes.
All right, so what do you attribute that to?
Okay, it starts very simple. Don't pretend to be smarter than what you are. What's in the books, practice those things. First thing begins with morale. You want to build morale, right? Everybody in the police department, just like everybody here at Shortways, has a job.
Right.
There's someone at Shortways who cleans the table, there's someone who serves the food, there's someone who serves the drinks, there's someone who cleans the parking lot. Everybody has a job. Everybody in the police department has a job. You might be a traffic officer, you might be a narcotics officer, you might be a patrol officer, but administrators have a simple job. And their job, they have to do it every single day. There's only 3 things. You can actually book it into 3 things. You have to make your department more effective. You have to make your department more efficient, and you have to build morale. And if you didn't do that day, you're not doing your job. You're like the traffic officer who didn't go out and write a ticket. And people forget that. We can read all the books in the world, and God knows I have, and I taught them, and all the rest of the stuff. As an administrator of any organization, I don't care if you run a Wawa, Shortways, Patterson Police Department, or Passaic County Sheriff's Department, every day you come to work, you have to be more effective, more efficient, and build morale. And anything that you do that violates those 3 rules, you're not doing your job.
Morale's huge.
Absolutely.
Did you guys,
And I
you
can
guys
tell
served
you-
under as he was chief. You guys,
Yes, we served.
Yes.
we
did
did.
you feel that? Did you feel that?
It was the first time as a union leader myself. I'm the superior officers president, so I have all the sergeants, lieutenants, captains, deputy chiefs are all my people. Alex has everyone. It was the first time where we truly. You always hear the open door policy, come in, we'll talk. But it was the first time that we truly saw that working together, collaboratively, actually working together, not always agreeing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Friends for 30 years,
Like a
and I can
family.
tell you.
You didn't always agree.
Tell you.
Yeah.
We've gone to him with things we wanted, and he has said no. He's also come to us with things that he's wanted to do, and we said maybe we have to figure out a different way we could do this. But the difference was we collectively worked together to accomplish a couple things, right? The mission of the department is first and foremost. We have to make sure that
People are safe.
the people are
Yeah.
safe in the city of Passaic. That's first and foremost, right? But doing what we can to empower the membership and do its best by the membership. And sometimes you get leaders or bosses in positions where they don't have the best interest for the membership in mind, and that's a constant butting of a head.
And they feel that.
Or because we're the union leaders and they're the administration, that there should be an inherent butting of the heads constantly. But that's not how we look at it. We look at it like work
Doesn't have to be
together.
that way.
Let's work together. So his open door policy, and I got to say, he says a lot. He goes, we have these discussions at different places, and Troy always say, tell him how many times you come into my office. We sit down and talk, and my rebut to that is pretty much the same amount of times you walked into my office and we sat down and talked, because that says something, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
He can pick up. He's still the chief. I'm the union head. I get it, right? And that's a powerful position. But he is still the chief of police. If he says, "Come to my office," you get out of you come out of your office and you walk to his office.
Yeah.
Right? So he could do that every single time. But what he didn't do is do that.
Right.
It was equal. He came to our office and spoke with us as many times as we went to his office to speak to him. And that says a lot about somebody. It's not about who has more power or the other. What it says is, I am willing, by my body language and what I'm doing, to work with you to fix the problem.
Let's just make
you
it better.
can't have anything better than that.
No, you can't.
Even, I say, agreements aside, right? Not always going to agree, but the ability to know by action that we can work together didn't happen before, and I don't know if it's going to happen again.
But I do have to say one thing, because it might have got missed over, skipped over, or anyone didn't notice it. My goal as chief was one thing, and the union goal was also the same thing. My first goal, I said build effectiveness, efficiency, morale, because it was to take care of the community. And you just heard the union president say, the first goal was make sure the community's safe. Everything else comes after that. Right? I hate to say that, but I just want to, you said it, I just want to really point it out that, like, as police officers, as union reps, as the chief of police, as the sheriff, as the commissioner, first thing we got to make sure is protect the community. That's who we work for. That's who we work for. All the rest of the stuff we talked about, but that's number one. That is number one.
And it's easy. Some people say, well, you're union president, you got to take care of your member above all else. And my answer to that is we take care of our membership, but I, like all the other officers throughout this country, raised their right hand and swore to protect life and property. That's first. That's paramount. And I think most, if not all, officers and lay people would see and agree to that.
What's as when you guys are police officers, what were your biggest frustrations? Like, things that were just out of your control. Things that were state, maybe state run, or decisions that were made down in Trenton that you guys had to live by. And what did you guys
We're going
have
through some of them
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Right now with the attorney general, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so we just we can all expand on this. I'll just start it and then I'll pass it over. One of the most recent things we talk about the quality of life, and quality of life issues are all throughout the county. One of the big ones down county is rampant dirt bike and quads driving around the city, on the streets, causing traffic jams and accidents and different things. And we had our ability limited to be able to pursue them and get them off the streets. So
you can't
right, unable
elaborate
to,
on it. You can't go after them?
Right, so if we see a group of 5 or 6 dirt bikes with unlicensed, no license plates, unregistered, and
No helmets.
and all the violations, driving down the street, we
You can't stop them?
We can maybe put the lights on. If they pull over and they stop, great. But as we know, they're not going to do that, and they'll take off. Once they take off, we have to shut the lights off and not pursue.
So you can't.
So it's running. It's pretty much running them up. It's
because they know. They know.
They
you guys
know,
can't.
yeah.
absolutely no. I say
They know the laws better than anybody else.
it's crazy, right? If they use some of that smarts for good,
Right.
we'd be better.
So
off.
the motorcycles that are just zooming by, you guys can't do anything about it.
Can I elaborate on
Sure,
law?
so go ahead.
You know.
You can elaborate. Absolutely.
So a lot of people that are involved in law enforcement, I understand this, but the Law Enforcement Act of 1970 gives the Attorney General to basically write guidelines that are power of law. They're the power of
state.
law for the state. So that is the highest law enforcement position, just so everybody
Attorney
knows.
General.
Yeah. So there are certain
And he
things.
reports to the governor.
He reports strictly to governor. Yes.
That's it.
So when he writes a guideline, we are by law bound to it. And there's all different kinds of guidelines. There's guidelines on how to handle a missing persons. There's guidelines on use of force, which we've always heard of. There's also guidelines if you find a baby. So the book is between directive and guidelines about 1,200 pages. That it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And you guys have to memorize.
Well,
all that?
actually, I think it's 1,186,
You have to have a
but don't hold me to that.
I'm working now. Yeah.
So
I think only Troy memorized.
That's why he was the chief.
I use my Rolodex as reference guide too.
I'm kind of nutty like that. So, but those are the guidelines that we have to operate on. If you violate those guidelines, you are definitely going to lose your job, and there's a good chance you go to jail. Some of those guidelines are great. We go under the guidelines when you see use of force, that police officers can't go further upon the scope of the continuing force when using force. So we see that. And they'll refer to that in the news like, oh, they violated Attorney General guidelines. And a lot of people, they don't click to that, but realize that those are our playbook. We cannot go past that.
Yeah.
So Governor Murphy enacted basically a policy that we could no longer pursue before whatsoever. Couldn't pursue for anything.
Anything.
Stolen car.
Anything.
Well, there was
speeding.
four exceptions, but there were minimal exceptions. But speeding, stolen car.
Someone steals
stolen
my car, and I call you up, and you guys see him taking off. You guys.
Well, that's changed. That before
It
just
wasn't,
had to,
you
like,
couldn't.
You'd actually throw them toll money because you might as well just give them toll money.
Yeah.
But they just changed.
So what happened was, and again, it becomes statistics, it becomes politics. All of a sudden, when the UCR came out, they saw that stolen cars were through the roof. So again, the
Wasn't it
government
like a 35% increase?
Yes,
Something like
yes.
that
So,
in like a year.
so again, the knee-jerk reaction to that is the government's like, okay, we can't pursue for anything, but now we can pursue for stolen cars. So now police officers can pursue a vehicle for stolen cars. And
then
again,
what
there's
happened
other
to stolen
parameters
car?
too.
What happened to that?
But then what happened was he never addressed stolen parts. He never addressed what the old pursue policy used to be, is that you could not pursue for a motor vehicle violation, but you can pursue if it was an imminent danger to that person or the community, you could pursue them. So if you had a quad,
Reckless driver?
reckless driver,
Yeah.
or 14 motorcycles, dirt bikes going down the street, I mean, obviously that is imminent danger to the community and themselves, you could pursue them. Now we can't. So now we can pursue for stolen cars, but we cannot still pursue those 27 motorcycles racing down Route 80 because it's strictly just a motor vehicle violation. Don't worry about it. Or the motorcycle that goes up and down your street, or the quad with a 14-year-old with no helmet going on. And if a police officer does pursue that,
Civil.
and that officer that officer is definitely going to be charged because he violated the Attorney General guidelines, which I said is like by law. Now it's law. It's like you violated the law. He's probably going to lose his job and civilly going to be sued if that person gets
Civilly
hurt.
and go against his house, personal savings,
so-
everything.
Just for doing something like going
That
after
most
this
people
gang
believe
of
is common
motorcycles.
sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Common
Doing
sense.
something that
Yeah, most people believe it's common sense.
Common sense.
Well, but then conversely, you got citizens that are just there watching all this happen. Like,
And
where
say,
are the
why
cops?
are the
Where
cops
the
doing
when you
anything?
need 'em?
Yeah.
So they,
Or why aren't they
Look at
doing
the cops
something?
not doing anything, right?
Right,
Where's
right.
the
Yeah.
cop sitting there not doing something?
Oh, you guys must just bite your tongue.
We do. We do. We
burns
absolutely do. Think about it. If you're that cop sitting at that intersection right here at this traffic light,
We're
and a
waiting for the
motorcycle-
light.
Waiting for the light. Motorcycle pulls alongside you, flips you the bird, runs a red light, does a wheelie, and continues down the street. And don't think that doesn't happen all the time.
Oh,
It happens.
How does that police officer feel? Because by law, he can't
go
chase
after
him.
And they know that.
it
They
makes
know
no
that.
sense.
See
No
it all
common
the time.
sense.
Now, what about, because I know this is a huge thing when they take the catalytic converters. It's like,
Yes.
I see people post their ring videos
Yeah.
of someone stealing their catalytic. It's like
Right.
on the video.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as Troy said, the funny part about that is, and it's great because, and he made a great reference, we were talking about this earlier. So if that person cuts the catalytic converter out of your car, right, tucks it under his arm, and decides to run home, we could chase him. We could chase him, we can catch him, and we can charge him with it. If he decides to just jump in a car and then take and then
drive
leave,
off.
drive off,
Gotta
Nada.
let him
Even
go.
if he drives like
can't do anything.
10 miles an
10
hour.
miles an hour, doesn't matter.
It does. You can't do anything.
Can't
Nope.
stop him.
You can follow him.
That
hang
is
out with him.
insane to me. That
It
makes
Yeah, it
no
is.
Makes no
sense.
sense.
to
Makes
me.
no sense
Yeah.
whatsoever.
It's upside down right now. I
And,
think
and
that-
there's nothing you guys at this level. You can't do anything.
No,
That's
that's a
insane.
governor's level. That's a
That's
governor's
on
level.
the governor's level,
That's
but
a governor's level.
I think when we speak to that, and we've had these discussions, there are always going to be speed bumps in the road. There's always going to be a wall that's built,
Yeah.
right? And you know, like the dirt bikes. We have a plan for the dirt bikes. We have a plan. We've discussed a plan for the dirt bikes. Now, it's not going to violate what the governor said or the AG or.
All right, so we had a battery change. My tech is not here. I am tech. So
Or we're long-winded, one of the two.
yeah, exactly. Let me just make sure we're still rolling. Yeah, we are. All right, yeah. So pick up where you left off.
So I was talking about stumbling blocks, right? Speed bumps in the road and different things like we talk about with not being able to pursue cars and different things like that, and the motorcycles,
Yeah.
dirt bikes rather, and quads and stuff. So we look at that, and I say we because we are a team. Alex, Troy, and myself are a team, like-minded, pretty much same ideas, and we bounce stuff off each other constantly, right? Learning from each other as we go. So we look at that as a wall. Right? You can't go through the wall. You see the walls in front of you, you can't go through it. So you have two choices. You can sit there, Indian style, and wait for the wall to fall down or somebody to take it down, or you could develop a plan to go under it, dig your way under it, climb over it, but do something to get past the wall, the blockade that stops you from
especially
doing
if
what
it's
you want to do.
especially
So,
because you know
Yes.
it doesn't benefit. That wall doesn't benefit the city.
It's eroding the
Yeah,
quality of
that-
life.
that's society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
as an inherent problem solvers that we are, because we've encountered problems throughout our career and lives as well. But we have to figure out ways to solve the problem.
Right.
So by them saying you can't chase the dirt bikes, so does that mean now that they can just run amok and we can't do anything? I say no. I say we'll abide by what the AG says, the Attorney General says. We're going to abide by that, of course, because it's lawful, so we're going to abide by that. But we're going to develop plans, which we have. We're going to
Yeah.
develop ways and ideas and work with agencies to figure out how we can now solve the problem, but still stay within the confines of what the AG says as far as law goes.
Right.
And we have developed that plan. I'd love to put it out right now, but I can tell you other things we've put out in the past. The current administration
people
now,
take
the county
it.
level,
Yeah, get those ideas and
right.
run.
So
Yeah.
we'll keep those specifics of the ideas to ourselves, and put them
Till
in play.
after November 8th.
And put them in play exactly
November 8th.
once we're there.
Yes.
But when we see what most would perceive to be a problem or nonsensical, as we talked about earlier, nonsensical, we say yes, and then we also then immediately start figuring out a plan and process of how to solve the problem,
Yeah.
which most people would agree is the right thing to do and
Yeah.
want to see it happen. And that's the kind of leadership you're going to have here. We're going to come across problems because they're going to be there all the time. I mean, that's basically what a leader does, right? Come across the problem, fix the problem,
Yeah, fix
and
it.
pursue forward.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of leadership you have here. That's what we are going to do collectively as a team.
And listen, guys, if you don't like these laws, then write a letter to the Attorney General, write a letter to the Governor. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
who makes
Yeah,
that's who
that's
comes up with
exactly.
these things, right?
Absolutely.
Because to me, they're insane. The fact that so the guy steals a catalytic converter, but if he decides he's going to run down the street, you guys can go after him, you can tackle him, you can
Yes.
arrest him and throw him in jail.
Right.
But if he just steps into a car and decides to slowly go down the street,
It's over.
it's over. It's
Or
over.
drive 100.
Or drive
Or drive
100.
100, yeah.
Either way, he's gone.
Yep, that's the law.
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, right?
Well, listen, Troy Oswald, Alex Cruz, Mason Maher, call them up. If you have questions, text them. Ask them questions and say, what are you going to, here's a problem. What are you going to do about this? This is what we're dealing with right now in the county. This is what, I'm dealing with, what my neighbors are dealing with. And ask them, right?
Absolutely. It's what we've done, 'cause we
Absolutely.
do.
You
Please.
know, they're public officials. So they're supposed to serve the public. So they're supposed to be answering to us. We're paying for everybody's salary.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
exactly
That's
our
exactly it.
Yeah.
our mantra is
and
that.
clearly, we paid for their 30 to 45%, 50% raise.
Ah, that was
Yes. You already paid for it.
Yeah, you paid
paid
for
for
it.
it.
We already
but it's
paid
not
for it.
ours.
It should come with a couple free phone calls, right?
Yeah.
A couple free phone
And
calls.
we're paying for criminals to go into Bergen County, right?
Yeah.
Instead of Passaic County.
Yeah,
which,
absolutely.
again, is just ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
And if I could just on the jail real quick, and then
Yeah.
whatever time we have. But so when we talk about closing the jail, and they spoke about it, and you heard that, so I'm not going to reiterate that. But what I will say with the jail closing that's been there for so long, where we know that the engine that runs this country is small business. I don't think anybody argues that. Small business is what makes the
100%.
wheels go on this country. So what happens to all those mom and pop shops around the jail who have spent their livelihood and raised families and put kids through school
Yeah, think about that.
are now going to close because they don't have
The personnel.
well, they don't
Yeah,
have
the
personnel,
traffic.
they don't have the
Clientele.
the employees of the jail,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
guards, even
How many people?
the
Do you know how
people
many
coming
people
that
used to
visit
work?
the loved ones now. They're not going to be patronizing those.
Yeah, they're not gonna grab a bite to eat around the
We're
corner.
going to go there and grab a bite to eat. So that's done. So now we close Passaic County businesses, which no tax revenue for Passaic County now, and we have vacant, dilapidated.
And who's going to want to
storefronts
move in there?
around
Who's gonna wanna
there.
move there?
Yeah.
So that's why, as Troy and Alex stated, show us the study. Show us the study how this benefits Passaic County, and if it does, great. We'll take a look at it and say, okay, great.
Yeah.
But if we can't see it, we can only go by what we know are facts. We've heard the jail. He has said the jail is closing. Now he says it's not, so we don't know which it is. And we know that our Passaic County residents who are sheriff's officers are gapping to Bergen County. We know our prisoners are going to Bergen County, and we know that the jail no longer creates a revenue stream for Passaic County. So, if we can explain that to us, I just
Yeah,
wanted to get the
love
small business part in because
Small
it's important.
business.
I never even
Passaic
thought of
County.
that.
Yeah, imagine-
How many people were employed in Passaic County?
Passaic County on the 197, I think it was about 380 something. I think was the
They were
number.
just around 400.
So it's about 400 corrections officers. But you think about it again.
What about their jobs?
Correct.
Completely in question. Completely in question. A bunch of them went to Bergen County. A bunch of them haven't. A bunch have been gapped over. Meaning gap. By definition, what they say gap over is meaning you go to a correction academy. There's a police academy. The gap between correction academy and a police academy, police officer, is called the gap program. They gap them over to be sheriff's officers.
Right.
So the sheriff said, like I remember, and this is a newspaper article. You can actually look it up. 100%. 40 new minted officers gapped over to hit the streets and to hit patrol. And then what happened was, of course, we get a copy of the detail. Every one of them went to a specialized unit. Not one went to patrol.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
It's all
It's all
smoke and
smoke and mirrors. And right now they just
smoke and mirrors.
and right now they just transferred over 20 new additional community policing officers in the last 2 months of the election. Is it community policing or is it to give propaganda of what the sheriff's department, Sheriff Burdick and his administration have been doing and trying to do? If they haven't done it in 12 years, ladies and gentlemen, this November 8th. You only have 33 days left. Please, vote for line B, and B is be the change for Team Mason Maher for sheriff, Troy Oswald and Alex Cruz for commissioners. Because if they haven't done it in 12 years, they sure is not. They're not going to do it in the last 33 days.
And,
so
and you
please.
know what? Listen, and you know what? You've got 33 days. Anything that was talked about here, you can always go back to the current administration and ask them the same question. Say,
Please.
I learned
ask
this.
them.
Where's this? And how about the accountability for this? Hold them accountable. We pay for them.
Yeah.
Right? Contact them and say,
Or ask us. Fact check us. Fact check anything we said.
Fact check them.
Text us. Call us. Fact check them. Ask them. Please, I welcome that challenge. Not challenge. I welcome that information.
Transparency.
well, that's what I love. You said that early on. It's public safety and transparency.
Transparency. That's it.
Just
Yeah.
let everybody know what's going on.
Right.
And first thing I'm going to do when I get home is I'm going to look up public records. I'm going to look up
There you go.
the Passaic County budgets.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a look from 2018 to now.
To now, what their salaries are.
Make sure you're sitting down.
Yeah.
I'm
sure you're
And if
sitting
I'm
down.
lying, please put it on your next podcast.
I'm
please.
going to look it up, and I'll say I may just put it up like right now. I may just put that page up right now so everybody can see.
Okay. You
side
look
by
at
side.
it, and I give you, not that you need my permission. I was like, blow me up for an hour that I lied. Take a look at it. They gave themselves humongous raises during COVID.
And another fun fact, if you read some literature that's going around now, not our literature, the current literature, it says that they haven't raised taxes in 4 years. But yet, Passaic County is still the highest county tax in the state, 121 counties. And Passaic County is number one.
Number one.
Highest taxes. So if they haven't raised them in 4 years,
What were they
I'm
4
telling
years
the
ago?
people, right? I'm telling the people out there, what were they 4 years ago? And what do? We don't raise them until another county passes us.
And we still have 9 more years to pay Bergen County $19.5 million
A year.
per year.
Jail's still open, 100 plus prisoners there.
Yep.
Still have the lights out.
Yeah.
It's still open.
It's still
so
open.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
still open. So we're still liable
Any
for
contracts?
all the
Why are we-
facilities, for
Why
all
are
the
we pay- why are we
maintenance,
paying them
everything.
then?
That's a
Correct.
great question.
That's
I
a
don't
great
know.
question.
These are things we asked for.
Yeah, I've asked
we
for
haven't given it to us yet. That's why our taxes are the way they are.
There you go.
Highest. Number
I
one.
have- yeah,
I want
I
to be
have no
number
idea
one.
to answer
I want to be
that
number
one.
one in something else. I want to be number
Yeah, I
one
don't
in
wanna be
safety.
number
Yeah.
I want to be number one in business coming to our county.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I want to be number one in a lot of things. Highest taxes in the state of New Jersey, not one of the things
Not
I want to be
acceptable.
number
Yeah.
one in.
Well, listen, guys, November 8th is the election. You've got Mason Maher, you've got Alex Cruz, and you've got Troy Oswald. They've made themselves, talk about transparency. How many of these guys, any of these politicians that are willing to give you their cell phone number and say, here, text me. If you have a question, just text me. And I really appreciate that you guys even just offer that. That's pretty
No,
awesome.
thank you. Thank
I
you.
wish you guys a lot of success in the election.
Appreciate it. Thank you. very
God
much.
bless.
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Mason.
Thank you for the time.
Yeah,
Nice to
truly.
And make sure you get out and vote November 8th. Stop complaining. Stop going on Facebook and complaining about things that are going on. You can make change. These guys are trying. They've been frustrated. They're trying to make change by running. You can make change by voting. So just make sure you get out November 8th, right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Roe,
Be
be the change.
Roe v. Be the change.
All right. Be well, everybody. Thank you, guys.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.